Hey everybody, Gelling Engineering here, and welcome to episode 7 of Project Ozone 3. In between episodes, I made this platform. It's not actually Additions themed, because quite frankly, actually Additions doesn't have a lot of building blocks, so I'll figure something out for the future to build it out of. But I made it double layered because when I put in the Empower, I'm going to have some power generation down here from actually Additions to power all of the display stands and the Empower itself. I also moved the atomic reconstructor over. Another thing I did is I revamped how I was smelting. I was doing it all manually, and this is modded. What the heck am I doing it manually? So I made this simple setup, and there's probably something simpler, where it's just basic drawer going into a diamond furnace. I upgraded them to diamond. And right now I'm just making a whole bunch of charcoal. I also did the same thing over here. I wasted a lot of resources in between episodes, and I've been non-stop sieving. But I have a chest, and it should have been a storage drawer if I'm honest, but I have a chest going into the gold furnace, and then the gold furnace is just going into a compacting drawer. So I'm going to have to do the same setup for all of these ores later, but for now I have all of the gravel sifted ores taken care of. Including iron. Look at that. I have nine stacks of iron blocks. I also got more animals popping in. That's a clean water cow, and who cares, am I right? I'm also stuck right now at the black quartz armor out of all of the quests because iota. I can't make thorium. In order to make thorium, I have to go to a different dimension, which is Landia. And that's going to be one of the things I do this episode after I make the display stands and Empower. If I am going to continue on with actually Additions, I am going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to need a lot more nether quartz. In order to get more nether quartz, I could just go on a mining expedition in the nether, but I still have weak armor. I could improve my weapons, and I could spend rack on getting this rhino plate shield. But I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to do it the simple way by going into nether briefly and getting soul sand. I can sieve up soul sand and get nether quartz that way. And I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it right now. So I'm going to make a trip into the nether, and luckily my nether spawn is very close to a bunch of soul sand. I'm just going to shovel that up and bring it back to base with me. I'll be back with you shortly. That was probably the simplest thing I had to do today. Look. Alright. I didn't get much. However, on a diamond, using soul sand in a diamond mesh, I have a 100% chance of getting nether quartz. So, like I said, this is the easiest way to get nether quartz. And I don't even know what I'm going to do with these thorn stalks. Got a stack of nether quartz here. Make some blocks of quartz. All the blocks of quartz. Turn them into slabs. And then turn the slabs into chiseled quartz blocks. With a block of quartz and chiseled quartz blocks, I now have enough to make 5 display stands, and one of those display stands is going to become the actual Empowerer, which is simple enough to do. Put the chiseled atomic reconstruct it, and then put the block of quartz. Center the block of quartz. Boom. And here we go. 5 display stands. Using one of those display stands, a single battery for the double battery with 2 iron casings. Mix the Empowerer. In order to power my display stands and Empowerer, I'm going to be using Canola because it's actually Additions and it belongs on that platform. So I just made the Canola press. And I'm also going to have to make the fermenting barrel. So using 6 logs, a wood casing, 1 piece of canola, and an anori crystal, made my fermenting barrel. I've set up a coal generator powering the canola press, and then put a quantum tank beside it. All you have to do is put the canola in there when it's powered. And look at that, you have the canola oil. The canola oil by itself can be used to power an oil generator. Also from actually Additions. However, I'm going to go one step further and place a fermenting barrel after this. Now the fermenting barrel is actually pretty quick, so I'm going to have the quantum tank fill up a little bit more before I place it. Now I have the canola oil in. It doesn't require any sort of power, but after it ferments, it goes in here. And now I have refined canola oil. Now the refined canola oil is all well and good, but we can do better than that. So if you use the atomic reconstructor on canola seeds, and then throw a crystallized canola seed, look at that. So now I have crystallized oil. And I can do the same thing. I can empower a crystallized seed, make an empowered seed, and throw that on the crystallized oil, and it'll become even better as well. I'm not going to do that right now because it is a time-consuming process. I'm going to make some oil generators and place them underneath the display stands and the empowerer. And we're going to get to work. Got my 5 oil generators. My oil generators are generating. And once they're full, I'm going to empower all the blocks I need to. I have them prepped right here. And it's just a matter of making some nether brick. So I am empowering the Restonia block right now, which required a brick, red dye, a nether brick, and a piece of redstone. Now we just have to wait for it to go. And there it goes. Boom, baby. Empowered Restonia. Next is the diamantine block, which is 2 pieces of clay, a block of clay, and a piece of light blue dye. And there we go. On to the void crystal, which is a piece of black dye. I'm using wither dust, charcoal, flint, a piece of stone. The empowered Anori crystal block, which is gray dye, a snowball, which I got from frozen cores from my loot bags, a stone button, a piece of cobblestone, and the block. Here we go. Making the green dye is proving difficult because I have to break into agricraft. So instead of breaking into agricraft, I'm taking a shortcut by making dye seeds from mystical agriculture, which just, if your mob farm's been running, you should have more than enough, and you've been sieving a lot, you should have more than enough Prudentium essence to be able to make that to work. Prudentium, Inferium essence. So I planted a dye seed. 1 dye seed is all I wanted. I'm going to go get some bone meal and speed this up. Oh, hello. Research time. So, should have done my research beforehand, but it looks like the only way that the mystical agriculture seeds will grow is by the use of agricraft crop sticks, which is stupid simple. Just 4 sticks in a 2x2. It gives you 4. So I'm just going to wait for these to grow, and after that I'm going to have my dye so I can continue on. Alright, cyan dye, and 3 prismarine shards. The palace block. Oh, the cyan dye, I ended up just using... I completely missed the first time around this recipe, so dandelion yellow and lapis. So dandelions are just bone meal grass, easy enough to get. Combine the green dye with another piece of lapis and you get the cyan. And boom. My empowered palace block. And finally, the last one. Piece of lime, grass, a sapling, slime ball, and here is our emeradic. Empowered emeradic, quest complete. Now the quest doesn't want the blocks, it wants the crystals itself. And emeradic. Wait for quest to complete. There we go. We are done with actually additions for now. And I'll come back to it a little bit later. Just an aside before we continue. The display stands, these do require power. The Empowerer does not. Though I made this extra oil generator pretty much for nothing. It's just a spare. And I'm perfectly fine with that. So it's time for me to get to the next thing, which is... Really? Oh, there it is. The next thing I'm going to do is Dank Nulls. Dank Nulls are super, super handy storage units that you can use. And they store a bunch of items the higher the tier you have. And I'm going to go up to the gold tier. I just, yep, I have everything that I need. So the first one you're going to make is Dank Null version 1, which is redstone, blocks of coal, a red stained glass pane, and you're going to need 5 of those. After you have 5 of those, bam, Dank Null. Looking inside of it, shift right click to access it, and you can see that I have storage for a bunch of stuff. Now the Dank Null will hold, I believe I will put all of the numbers up because I don't have them off the top of my head right now, but once it reaches the maximum amount per tier, it'll just start voiding them all. So if this is 1 stack, then I could put 1 stack of iron, and any more iron that goes into it will just get voided out. It's very handy for mining expeditions if you're not in a skyblock world. Then I'm going to make the tier 2 now. The tier 2, I'm going to make one separate, which is why I gave myself enough supplies for 5 panes. But you can choose just to put the Dank Null in and surround it with 4 panes to make the next tier up. And I messed up. 5 lapis Dank Null panels for the tier 2. Iron for tier 3. And gold for tier 4. And the tier 4, you can see how much space this has. Each increasing rank adds 1 more row of things that you can add and increases the amount of items that it can store in it. There's also the Dank Null docking station. The Dank Null docking station can attach itself to any inventory, and when you put a Dank Null on top of it, it will suck the inventory out of the Dank Null and into the container. I've loaded all of the glass panes I just made into the Mark 1 Dank Null, and if you look at the little tooltips there, you'll see that down at the bottom it says Control-Click change the extraction mode. So whenever you initially dock a Dank Null with a docking station, nothing will extract unless you've specifically told the Dank Null that you want to extract. So I've changed the yellow glass pane to extract all but 1. Right now I have everything at do not extract. So just alternate everything, attach it to the docking station. The docking station is attached to a hopper. And you'll see that everything is starting to go, but only the things that I told it to. Last 2 things I'm going to go over with the Dank Null is when you open it and it's completely empty, you put in items, and you can shift click them in there as well. But once an item is in a Dank Null, if you pick it up, it'll immediately go in. So I have 8 blue stained glass. Pick it up, it automatically put itself inside the Dank Null. You also notice down in the lower right, I have that yellow glass pane selected. If you hold shift and scroll, you can change what the selected item is. And if I wanted to place this blue stained glass, all I would have to do is go to someplace, right click, and since it's selected, it'll place it. This is actually a new feature to me and I like it. I don't have to, if you mouse over it, it'll say will hold 128 per slot. After 128 items have been put into the slot, it'll start voiding it. The Mark II is 512, Mark III is 1152, and 2048 for Mark 4. Then once you get to the Mark 6, it's a nigh infinite amount. Alright, I think I'm going to end this episode here. I know I said I was going to go to Landia, but in order to get to Landia, I need to complete Spacious Crystal. Spacious Crystal requires Simple Crystals, and Simple Crystals requires the Twilight Forest. So I am not getting into that right now because I am just out of time. In between episodes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this platform up and make it a tower, and then make a separate platform where all the animals can spawn. Because I'm sick of coming to this platform and hearing all of the noises. I'm also going to go into the Nether and get Landia ore. I got 4, I believe, during one of the trips. Yeah, I got 4. I got 4 Landia ore during one of the trips, and I need more, I think. I have no idea. I've never played Landcore. If any of you have any suggestions, any tips, tricks, anything I've done efficiently, put them in the comments. And if I change something, I'll give you credit for the idea. But I'm Kelly Engineering, and I will see you on Monday. Bye-bye.